And we're live.
So I heard this. I remember this from a documentary. I've been trying to find it, but it's an ESPN documentary on Pistol Pete Maravich, and he did a move. Right, he did a little dribbling move, and he passed the ball, and the ref calls it a travel. And Pistol Pete turns to the ref and says, "You can't call that a travel because you've never seen that move before."
I'm about to get mine and it's about time. Call us Grindhouse, everybody in a house grind. I'm just doing me, I ain't trying to outshine. Trying to kill my vibe is how you get outlined.
Welcome to the Hoopstorians. This day in NBA history, keeping with the theme of the Open, on February 25th, 1977, Pistol Pete Maravich scored a career 68 points as the New Orleans Jazz defeated the New York Knicks 124 to 107. Only 5 other NBA players have ever scored more than 68 points in a game. Off the top of my head, that's David Thompson, David Robinson, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Wilt Chamberlain, right? Just
Off
to
the top
talk
of your head,
about,
you said only points out 68?
just to talk about Pistol Pete Maravich for a second. Why did, because obviously he's an incredible college player at LSU, averaged 44 points per game pre-3-point line, but didn't translate well into the pros, and the fact that he had a Hall of Fame career and he's an all-star and an all-NBA player and was, I think, top 3 in MVP voting a couple of times. But why really didn't Pistol Pete Maravich translate to the NBA the way you'd expect a player of his caliber in college to do so? And why is his legacy a lot bigger? Why is his legacy a lot bigger than what his actual production was on the court? We'll start with Jules and then go to Tony, and then I'll make some comments.
I've always believed that Pistol Pete's impact grew a little bit more than he actually was because of his scoring ability in college, being the highest points per game average in a season ever, I believe, with 44 or 45 at LSU. I think it's because his high volume scoring was weird. Like it's impactful, but it isn't. And when we talk about players who are high volume scorers and they don't bring that much else to the table, like scoring is end all be all what wins you or lose you games because you have to score more than the other person. But the translucency of just his scoring ability never outweighed somebody who can, gives you extra possessions, the rebounding, somebody who can play make, somebody who can defend, and all this kind of stuff. So Pistol Pete was definitely ahead of his time, but it just never translated to something where it could cohesively go into a team setting and win games over a season. So, like, Pistol Pete is just a very odd legacy to go and look at. I think he is a great player, but it's just like it never impacted that much. His impact is like mid-tier at best just because of his scoring ability. I don't know. I don't know how you feel, Tony.
So part of the thing is like I think his scoring impact is good to a certain level, but the issue is the shot selection. He only ever shoots 45% 3 times. Never hits 50. Shoots 45% 3 times. Never consecutive years. Then when you look at the playoff translation, he never gets to 45% in the playoffs. He's got years at 37, 44, 41. So he's constantly shooting at that Allen Iverson level. Like around there. But the difference is he's 6'5" and Allen Iverson's 6 foot. At 6'5", generally you're taller than most guards. So you should be able to have advantage of that. He doesn't rebound particularly well either. He's getting like 2 rebounds a game some years that he's an all-star. Then his passing drops like a rock in the playoffs as well. He's under 5 assists. You know what I mean? So he's not passing and playmaking like he is too. Then what's even crazier, at the point guard position, when you're averaging as many as assists as you are at fouls in the playoffs, that's going to kind of fuck you up, just generally speaking. So when we get to the playoffs, you become foul prone. You can't hit your fucking shots. You're not getting other players involved, but your highlights look fucking amazing. That's why people hold Pete Maravich higher than what he is.
Yeah, I think Pete Maravich is part of that sort of like the aesthetics of basketball being a lot bigger than the player itself. We see that now today with a player like Kyrie Irving, where, yeah, it looks a lot of fun. It's fun to watch. But when you look at the actual production of what Pete Maravich is giving you, like Tony said, a lot of I would say empty calorie scoring. He is a scoring champion and 77, 31 points. 31 points per game, obviously able to score 68 points, which is an incredible achievement. I forgot Donovan Mitchell in that, more than 68 points, and Devin Booker. But so I think it's probably more than 5. But I think with Pete Maravich too, Tony brought up the fouling. Pete Maravich was not a good defender for his time. The space, and with the limited spacing and the type of basketball that was played in that era, having like a ball dominant scoring guard wasn't necessarily what the era had called for at that time. Certainly not one that's shooting in the low 40s. He also had conditioning concerns, and he had some knee injuries and things like that kept him. And like Tony brought up the playoff success, I think 3 playoff appearances as when he was an actual star, in New Orleans and in New Orleans / Utah and Atlanta. I know he wasn't getting along with Lou Hudson when he was playing in Atlanta for a while because of his ball dominance type of scoring. And his only playoff series win was, I believe, with Boston. It was the only time he got out of the first round. And by that time, he was shot.
I forgot he even won a playoff series. I had forgotten he even won a playoff series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is forgettable because it's he's a mid-season trade to Boston. It's his last year in the NBA. He's 31, 32 years old, and he's just a shell of the player he was before. So yeah, I just think it's empty calorie scoring, not playing really good defense, not playing a little bit ahead of his time in terms of the type of basketball he was playing, and but great aesthetics. It's fun to watch, like Jason Williams or Kyrie Irving. So that's this day in NBA history.
So Hoops, now that you're back, Hoops been out for the last month. He's got some new additions to his family. He became a dad, so shout out to Hoops. Congrats to him.
Thank you.
I know, like I've told you over and over, enjoy it for these next few years, because once she becomes a teenager, you're going to grow to hate her, like we all do.
Yeah.
So what was I going to say? Hoops, you want to lead us the way, though?
Yeah, sure. So we've been going through, and we've taken a little bit of time off from this particular segment that we've been doing, but we've been going through our top 80 players in NBA history to commemorate the 80th season of the NBA, and we had gotten all the way up to 55. We had, we've been, how it basically works is we go through the list, we talk about who we have where, and we decide collectively where to add those players, and eventually. While we've been in the 80s, the 60s, the 50s, it hasn't gotten as hotly contested. But once we get up into the 20s, I think that's where things are really going to get real. I think we generally have an agreement on who is in a certain range, but certainly there's differing philosophies here on what makes a player move up or down all time. So we're definitely looking forward to having the more animated conversations. But one of the things.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think pretty much generally speaking, the top 12 players of all time have separated themselves, and it's just kind of what order you have them in.
I've been saying that for a while.
Would you say
12 top 10 players?
Huh?
There's 12 top 10 players, I think, in my opinion. There's 12 players you can make an argument for in the top 10.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so I think, one of the things, even though we're still like mostly in agreement, one of the things I've enjoyed about like the lower tiers of this list is talking about players that don't often get talked about. Like we're going to talk about LeBron and Michael Jordan, right? But people talk about LeBron and Michael Jordan every fucking day. But we get to talk about, I want to talk about Dolph Chase today, right? And we get to talk about some other players like that. And so once we get into the stuff like that, I think it's a lot more interesting. And I think that's what people look to us, certainly on our TikTok channels, for, is to talk about players that we often don't get mentioned in the online space. So with that being said, why don't we start? We're at 55 now, as far as
54. 54. Howard's
54.
Yeah, Howard's 50. Howard's 54. Okay.
No, Howard's 50. We're at 54.
Howard's 54. Dwight Howard is 54. Okay.
No, he's 55. Dwight Howard is 55.
Well, he's 55, so we're at 54. Okay.
Correct.
All right. We already mentioned Dolph Shays. Sorry. I have Elvin Hayes next.
I have Dolph Shays at 54. so I don't really got a spot at 54. If you want to do my 53rd person, I got George Gervin.
Okay.
I don't have a dog in this fight. I had Embiid at 54, and we already had him down.
Yes. So let's talk about. I mean, you had Dolph Shays, but
well, let's go with Elvin Hayes. Where does everybody got Elvin Hayes? I have Elvin Hayes 40. I know you got him 54. That's why I said I have him 48.
I mean, the thing is I can move with Elvin Hayes. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I have Elvin Hayes 46. So I have him a little bit higher.
All right.
Yeah, we're both. What? And then wait. Who do you have? 53, Jules?
Everybody's favorite point guard, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. See, so I'm a little higher on Westbrook as well. I have him, high 30s, low 40s in that range. Where do you have him, Oops?
Russell Westbrook, 45.
Yeah. Okay, so you got a mid 40s and all that. Okay, and then where do we got George Gervin for everybody?
I had him in the.
I have Gervin 40. I have him much higher.
Yeah, I had him higher too. I had him.
Okay, cool.
I had him. I had him 52 actually.
Gervin 52.
Yeah. Yep, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have George Gervin 52. So we can talk about George Gervin, I think. Why don't we?
Yeah, and then since we got Hayes a little higher, you want to bump him up a few spots, and then we can.
Yeah, I can bump up Hayes. I'm fine with that.
Or we might not. Jules, you might push back, Jules. So give us the reason, unless you're like dead set that he needs to be higher than four. That needs to be higher. As you got the Spurs.
The relative Spurs fan. Gervin, I think, is a pantheon Spurs player. I think he was the all-time greatest player before Duncan got there. And of course, the Spurs history is very weird because it's an ABA team that goes to the NBA once the merger happens. But Gervin is one of the only players in the ABA that decisively translates to the NBA. He only drops by, I believe, a point, but his scoring ability is still basically the same. He doesn't lose efficiency. He's making conference finals runs, and really, he gets a team around him. Mike Mitchell, Artis Gilmore, Johnny Moore. You guys know I'm the Johnny Moore Glazer. That team is very underrated because it's one of the first signs where, even though it's post-prime guys like Artis Gilmore and Gervin, you could say is probably a little bit out of his prime because a few years later he does leave to go to Chicago. They have a great series against LA, and the only reason why they lose against LA is because they don't have the interior rim protection or the defenders to deal with those Lakers teams. But the Spurs in the early 80s are, second round Western Conference Finals, and they just ultimately lose. And Gervin's, never wins a title. But his scoring ability and his efficiency for the time period is actually really, really impressive. When you talk about all-time greatest scorers, I always put George Gervin in those lists because I think pre-merger and slightly post-merger, he's one of the only guys that has the high efficiencies, the legitimate jump shots, and all this kind of stuff. So I think people get underrated with George, but maybe that's just bias. I don't know how you guys feel.
4 scoring titles, one of the greatest scorers of all time. I think he's top 3 in MVP voting a few years. He does have you talked about some pretty good teams with Artis Gilmore making the conference finals. I think they're peak out as a mid 50 win team, 55-ish win team. Yeah. He has some pretty good longevity too. After starting with the Virginia Squires, where he isn't that good, he makes the leap, I think, pretty quickly to the NBA, which I think is he goes to the Spurs, and then he's good there, and then when the merger happens, it takes him a couple of years to take off, but 4 scoring titles, 3 in a row. He has, but my only thing with Gervin is you get like, just looking at it, you get like, okay, 75 to 77, he's a 23 point per game scorer. And then it's like, bam, his peak is right here. This is like 4 or 5 year stretch where he's a 4-time scoring champion, around 30 points per game, 27 points per game. And then it's a couple other good seasons, and then he drops off again after 85. So for me, it's a little bit like, it's a little condensed, even though he has pretty good longevity. And there is, some playoff success, but like he, I think he doesn't get out of the in the NBA. I don't think he gets out of the first round all that much. And we're talking about how many conference finals appearances won. So, and he's good in those runs, 33 points per game, 28 points per game, 33 points per game. But that's kind of where I'm going. I think his true peak, where he is a transcendently great player, is a little short, and there isn't a lot in the way of the playoffs for me, which is why I don't have him in my top 50.
Okay.
Yeah. So like with me, with the Gervin thing so Gervin has that 3-year run. I think it's 77 to 80, where he's top 3 in MVP voting 3 straight years. And then he's top 5 for like 5 straight years, somewhere around there. So like it's that, but really the thing that does it to me is because I'm really big on pattern recognition when I look at these players, and what I've seen from wing players, 2 guards and 3 guards, and Jordan plays both. I'm saying Gervin plays both. Is that if you're really that like upper echelon winning player, you are 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. That's what's going to lead you to a title. We've seen it from LeBron. We've seen it from Wade. We've seen it from Kobe. We've seen it from Kawhi. We've seen it from Jordan. That's basically where you need to be at. We've seen it from Havlicek. That's kind of where you got to be. Gervin for his career is a 2.5 assist guy. That's really what knocks it down with me and his play style, because at your position, I need you to get some more playmaking done. That's the problem. That's what stopped Dominique Wilkins in the 80s. You look at Dominique, he's he's 9 rebounds, he's 30 points, he's 3 fucking assists. He does not get his teammates involved like that, just like Gervin does not get his teammates involved like that. And that's what knocks it down for me. However, though, on a side note, I do want to say this personally. I have an autographed basketball from George Gervin, so I have met him, cool dude. One of the things that really upset me is, and this always haunts me to this day. I wasn't even born then, but it still haunts me to this day, is the Phoenix Suns drafted George Gervin. And in 1981, the Phoenix Suns started off really hot and looked really good. And they ended up losing in 7 in the first round to the Kings. They were a 7. They had really good positional play at their point guard position and Dennis Johnson. Their 2 guard was Walter Davis. Power forward was Truck Robinson, and their center was Alvin Adams. All good players. Their small forward was Jeff fucking Cook. You know what I mean? And when they lost in the fucking first round, nobody averaged 20. They needed a 20-point-a-game guy. Gervin could have led him to a title in 81, and we'd be talking about Gervin as a top 25 fucking player because of it. But instead, the Suns didn't keep him. They fucked it up per usual, like they always do, and that could have been a great little run for him because we had Jeff fucking Cook. So, that's really what keeps Gervin a little higher for me.
I will say, to be fair with Gervin, because I do exemplify my bias behind it. There in 83, in those playoff runs, you can make really good arguments that Mike Mitchell is giving you the same amount of impact and like not production wise, but it's still like 27-4. Johnny Moore, again, you guys know me, 27-14, and then 19-15 against the Lakers. So like you can say just because the scoring like that impacts, but there are other players on the team that you can easily make arguments. Well, this player is better than Gervin because of the playmaking, the scoring, or this is better because of the playmaking, the rebounding. Ernest Gilmore giving you the defense and the rebounding and stuff like that. So I do understand where you guys are coming from. It's just I think I just propelled Gervin because of the scoring titles and what he was able to accomplish, and I completely understand why you guys are a little bit lower than him than I am.
So then, are we in consensus about 54?
I think we can do it.
Because I got a question: Is Johnny?
Yes.
Was Johnny's middle name Give Me?
You ask? No, he was no. I know.
Oh.
No, it was not. Don't do that. Don't do that. How dare you?
You don't like that name, Hoops? Johnny Give Me More?
No.
I got you. So then, are we consensus about 54 with George German? Do we want to put him somewhere
let's
different?
do it.
George Gervin at 54 is fine.
I got you. Then like for 52, because like I know we still have Elvin Hayes on the block now in this range. For 52, I got Patrick. I don't know who you guys got it.
Patrick
53.
Ewing?
Well, Patrick Ewing. Where do you have Ewing, I guess, in relation? And then who's number 53 for you?
I got Patrick Ewing in the 40s. I got Patrick Ewing at exactly 40.
I have Patrick Ewing at 39.
Yeah,
God,
I got him at 40. So I have it. My next one up is Anthony Davis.
Okay.
I can get into that a little bit if you want.
I have 80 at 48. So I want to hear it.
Here's my problem with Anthony Davis is that he doesn't fucking play. And I'm sorry that has to matter to me at some point. Obviously, Anthony Davis as a talent, I thought this guy was going to be the greatest power forward of all time, and he really could have been in that conversation with how good he was. I mean, he's one of the best defenders when he's on the court. He's one of the best defenders we've ever seen, right? He's got what, 3-4 blocks titles, right? He's a great rim protector, can guard out in the perimeter. Remember in 2023 when he stopped Steph, he was on the perimeter with Steph and he stopped him twice in a row to end the game, right? And he had a transcendently great defensive run that year in 2023. My problem with Anthony Davis, again, like there's years where he's got 28 points per game, like a couple years in a row, 26 points per game. He's one of the better scorers at the power forward position too. Always on pretty decent efficiency, usually over 50% from the field. He's not much in the way of playmaking, but he's one of the better rebounders of his time. He could have won the rebounding title, actually, I believe in 23 if he had played enough games to qualify. I think Sabonis ended up taking that from him, but again, the thing is you look at his games, 64, 66, 68, 61. Then he has 275 seasons, 56 games. And then he plays at LA. He's actually healthy. The championship year in LA, he is healthy. 36 games in 2021. That's when he gets injured again. And then he gets injured in the playoffs and probably cost the Lakers another championship. 40 games in 2022 cost the Lakers a playoff spot because he couldn't play enough. 56 games in 2023. That's when they were the 7th seed. If he played a little bit longer, they could have gotten a better position. 76 games. Hey, that's pretty good. That was a good season for him. 51 games, 42 games, 9 games. Then he plays 20 games this fucking year. So that's my problem with Anthony Davis is that, when he plays and when he gets an opportunity to play in the playoffs, he can be pretty good, but he never really gets that. He doesn't have that opportunity a lot. My other problem with Anthony Davis is I think his motor. He's often very inconsistent on the offensive end. And I remember in 23, the whole argument was, well, he's inconsistent on offense because he's got to play this great defense. Well, when we're getting into the 50s, the 40s and all that, you need to be great on both ends of the floor unless you are a phenomenal offensive player like a Luka Doncic, who I have higher, right? Or, like Steph Curry, obviously, who I have a lot higher, right? So that's my problem with Anthony Davis is one, I think he has a motor problem. I don't think he was never the best player on a title contending team. And I don't think he ever could be because of that. And the other problem I have with Anthony Davis, especially later on in his career, is that he shoots too many fucking threes. And he's not good at them. He had one good year of shooting threes with the Lakers in particular, where he was 33% from the field. He had a couple 33% from the field in New Orleans as well. That's where he caps off. But I was watching him last year in the play-in, and I swear to God, this guy thought he was Kevin Durant. And so I just feel like Anthony Davis in terms of his unavailability, maybe that's his fault, maybe that's not, and his complete lack of fucking motor sometimes on that end of the floor, bitching and moaning about not wanting to play center, even though he is a fucking center. That's why I have him lower. But I do respect the talent. I understand that he's a very nice guy and all that, but I just can't. That's why I have him out of my.
I like Anthony Davis. I like Anthony Davis at 53. Where do you have him, Jules?
I have him 48. to play a little bit of devil's advocate, because I do just have him within my top 50. But it's not, again, it's just not, it's just it's a few spots higher. Is that Anthony Davis, you brought up every single point.
Is like saying,
yeah, exactly. Is that to play out devil's advocate again? You are absolutely right. The motor, the injuries, everything you said is absolutely correct, Hoops. But why I'm a little bit higher is because I'm starting to believe that I'm way more of an impact guy, and it kind of sucks. But Anthony Davis, when he was on the Mavs this year, when he was on the floor, they're I believe the second worst defense when he's off the floor, and they're a top 3 defense when he is on the floor, like transcendently different, like a Rudy Gobert type of impact when he's on the floor compared to off. And the valuability of Anthony Davis is like he's able to create possessions and end possessions. What I mean by that is, again, the rebounding, but also the blocking of the shots. Because if you go into the analytics, and I know a lot of people don't like the analytics, is like per 75, he's getting at least 4 extra possessions for the team to go and create offense. That is by and far and large number 1 in the NBA this year. The next highest person, I believe, is like Alex Sarr, and he's at like 1.5. So Anthony Davis's impact, we all know when he's on the floor, it's great, but he's not on the floor majority of his career, and I do understand why it is. Again, I'm just a tiny bit higher than on him than you are, but it's not like 20 spots off. So I'm fine with Anthony Davis at 53 personally. I have Elvin Hayes higher than him.
Sounds like Anthony Davis and Alex Sarr can make a really special front court duo with the Wizards if the Wizards ever get the privilege of seeing Anthony Davis on the floor. And I agree with the impact stuff. So yeah, I agree with the impact stuff. Anthony Davis should have been a top 30, top 20 player, should have been higher. He should have been a lot higher. But he just wasn't. So I think we're all in agreement with 53.
Yeah, let's do David. Okay, so who do you guys got at
52?
And then I just want to give you my So then who you guys got at 52? Because I want to give you my speech on Ewing. Because we still got Hayes in the mix,
All right, but my next guy up is John Stockton. He's my next guy up on the list. So. Let's hear the Patrick Ewing.
Okay, cool. So let's just do this. In 29 playoff series, how many series, Hoops, do you think Patrick Ewing averages over 25 points?
1.
I just want to show you this because I just want to show you what you think versus what is. Watch this.
Honestly, probably 1.
Well, no, he has 5. Okay, he has 15 of them averaging under 20 though. 15 out of 29. So for half of his career in the playoffs, he will give you under 20. Okay, now let's go field goal percentage. How many series do you think he shoots 50% or higher?
I'd say 5, maybe
8. But he has 9 series where he shoots 41% or lower.
That's fair.
And now this is from your center on top of it. Now, how many series do you think where he averages under 2 assists a game out of 29?
I would say all of them.
28.
Yeah.
13, about half of them. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So generally speaking, in Patrick Ewing, you're more likely to get him shooting 41% or lower than 50%. You're more likely for him to average under 20 than over 20. It results in no winning. The dude is a one-time all NBA member. He has no MVPs. He's a 3-time all defensive member with no all defensive first team. He has no statistical leaders. The strongest shit on his resume is 7 all NBAs and 11 all stars. That's roughly around like Vince Carter level shit.
So my problem with the accolade side of it, like I do feel like we know why, and it's Hakeem, David Robinson, Shaq, and there's only one spot, and he's the other guy, right? He's just not as good as those guys. The playoff dropping is the playoff dropping. I don't really have anything. I mean, Patrick Ewing is a notorious playoff choker. I do think he's a very underrated defensive player. Like you said, how many all defensive teams does he have?
3 all seconds.
Three all defensive teams average like 4 blocks a game at least once. 3 blocks a game.
But he was but here's the thing too. He was also in the league before Robinson and Shaq and Zoe, so he could have pumped those numbers up. He had 7 years before Shaq got in the league.
He had 7 years before Shaq got in the league, but Hakeem came in the league, and then you had Moses Malone. You had Robinson came in 87. It's a good point. You're making
89.
You're making good points.
But
I'm not even gonna lie.
No, Robinson came in 89. Robinson came in 89.
89.
Because remember, he had to do 2 years of service.
That's right. He got drafted in 87. He had to serve, and then it was 89.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't think the dude's got a top 40 career. Like I said, I have no problem conceding if you guys want to put him higher. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that is why, like, I am, and I'm notoriously against the playoff dropping argument. But Ewing's is just so fucking egregious, and there's never no like the Wilt thing. Wilt at least has rises that can counter his negatives. You know what I mean? But like, there's no counter for Ewing's negatives. You know what I mean? There's just no counter. So that's really where it's at. So that's where I am on it. I got Stockton a little higher than him because at the end of the day, Stockton is a two-time All-NBA record holder. You know what I mean? For whatever the fuck else he is, that's still at the end of the day, that shit alone is just really impressive. I mean, I don't have him much higher. Well, I do have him much higher. I have him in the low 40s, but you know what I mean? I mean, we can drop Stockton wherever. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm much willing to drop Stockton at over 50 if you guys are willing to drop Ewing.
Fine. That's fine.
You guys know how I feel about Stockton. Like, I think Stockton should be a below Ewing. I think Ewing is a top 50 player of all time. No question about it. If you put him, at the lowest I can concede is at 50. Like, I don't think he can be outside the top 50. I understand the arguments, but I think Ewing, like anything outside of 50, I think to me is pushing it a lot.
See, me, I'm one of those persons, like, that's the spot. See, and like, it's really just the aesthetics of it. Because like I said, it's all the same range. What the fuck does it really matter? I'm just big on saying I don't think Ewing's a top 50 player. You know what I mean? Because like, if I know what Ewing had, like I said, I'll put it this way. If I'm trying to win games and I know what Dandridge can bring to me versus Ewing, I would rather pick Dandridge.
Fair enough.
Sure.
You know, but anyways, but that's cool. We can save Ewing for and then I think what some order of Stockton and Hayes.
We can do Ewing and Stockton. I mean, that's fine with me if we can.
What about Hayes?
Elvin Hayes, we want to put higher. Right?
Well, no, you have Hayes up there. We have a low for. We could do some form of because we need 52, 51, and 50. We do some combo of Ewing, Hayes, and I mean, I would personally like Hayes over Ewing. I'd like it to be Hayes. I'll even give you Ewing over Stockton. I'd like to do Ewing, Hayes, Hayes, Ewing, Stockton.
That's fine with me. I mean,
he
with
wants
Hayes,
it at 50. So I'm saying we could do Ewing at 50. I'm cool with that.
Ewing at 50 is fine.
Ewing at 50. I'm cool with like Stockton, Hayes, and Ewing.
Stockton, Hayes, and Ewing is fine with me. I would like to.
I would like to do it in Hayes, Stockton, Ewing. I mean, I don't want Stockton necessarily. Like I said, I got Stockton a little higher, but I know you guys are lower on him. So, I mean, I'm cool with keeping him out the top 50 for Hayes.
Fine. So I'm thinking but what I would really like is Jules's John Stockton rant at some point while we decide on
let's. I gave you my Ewing rant. Okay, let's hear your Stockton rant.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess a lot of people on TikTok know
assist champion. By the way, 9-time assist champion, John Stockton.
9-time assist champion, absolutely. Well, people who know me on TikTok know me as the John Stockton hater. Plant the FC right here. I wish I had a flag saying I hate John Stockton. But Stockton gets overrated, and here's the reasons why. So Stockton is, for the first few years, he's coming off the bench for those Utah Jazz teams. That's completely fine. And once he gets implemented with Frank, they are more of a defensive-minded team. But when Stockton gets implemented, he has a lot of help in those late 80s years. Karl Malone, Thurl Bailey, Darryl Griffith, Mark Eaton, Blue English, these kind of guys who've either made all NBAs, all stars, six man of the year, or depoy, and they're not able to get out of the draft. So okay, cool. So we get into the 90s where they're starting to become a lot of a 50-win team. We've talked about this. Tony, you and I have talked about 55 is usually the benchmark of, okay, you're a true contender. You're winning more than 2/3 of your games and so on and so forth. During the decades of the 90s, they have more first-round exits than conference finals appearances as a quote-unquote top 5 PG and a top 5 power forward. You're losing in the first round against the Run TMC Warriors. You're losing in the first round against the Rockets. You're losing in the first round against the Sonics prior to Gary Payton's jump. You're losing to the first round against baby Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, even though that's post when in the finals. And then in the finals as a number one offense in the league at the slowest pace in NBA history. You set the finals record for scoring the least amount of points in an NBA game. Now, obviously, that's not just on John Stockton. That is the team. I do understand that. But as the leader of the number one offense in the league, you're a big contributor of how that engine goes. And if your engine is a V6 compared to a Ferrari, you're not going to do much. If you're a V6 to a V12 is not that much. So Stockton does have the longevity. I absolutely do understand that. But there's times where longevity works against you. And you do have the totality of that. I can give you that. But there's not much shit else that you really do other than assist titles. And a lot of people don't hold assist titles very well. And I'll take this from Hoops as well. John Stockton, you should be happy that Johnson got ill, because that assist title would not have been yours. That would have been Magic Johnson's, like point blank, period. So John Stockton, I'm sorry, you're a predicator of longevity, but at the end of the day, you have a 3-year peak and you have less All-NBA first teams than people that are just ranked ahead of you. You're losing All-NBA first teams to Penny Hardaway, to Tim Hardaway, to Kevin Johnson. I think that's just highly suspect, in my opinion. It's just that shows the greatness of John Stockton.
Yeah. All right. Elvin Hayes. And we can go to Elvin. I'm in agreement with you on John Stockton.
Yeah.
I also didn't like some of the comments he makes too. Just like when he talked about LeBron saying, "Oh, you took a helicopter to the top."
Hey, I just want to let you know, I have to give him a call. I do got him in the phone book. I'm going to let him know what you said, Jules.
Arizona, right? Is that like?
Yeah.
Is he from Arizona? Yeah.
He's in Washington. He's in Washington.
I thought he was from Arizona. Maybe I'm confused.
Yeah, he's a Washington native. No,
I'm thinking Mike.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Mike
he's from
Bibby.
Washington.
Swole Bibby?
I think
Swole
it's Bibby.
Bibby?
Yeah.
Swole Bibby.
My other the other thing was recent and annoyed me. It was like, oh, you took a helicopter to the top. You didn't you didn't earn it. Talking about LeBron, and I'm like, you fucking had one of the greatest players of all time with you literally your entire career and didn't do jack shit with it. So fuck off. Not to mention you mentioned Thurl Bailey, Mark Eaton, Hornacek, etc. So Elvin Hayes, I think, is interesting. 2-time rebounding champion, scoring champion. Didn't really do much in the way of playmaking. Didn't really get along with his teammates particularly well.
Notorious asshole.
Yeah, notorious asshole.
Notorious asshole, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a notorious asshole. I'll put it this way. He is the equivalent of Kevin Durant on the burner with his teammates. Like, Elvin Hayes would have been doing some shit like that if they had social media in the 60s.
Absolutely.
Didn't talk to Dr. J for 10 years for dunking on him.
And he lost out on finals MVP in 78 because he got kicked out of game 7 like pretty early in the second half because he had an issue with the ref, like a personal problem with the ref. The ref ejected him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, notorious asshole, didn't get along with his teammates. Was a very good scorer, not very efficient scorer. Does have 2 rebounding titles, was around at his best, like 18 rebounds per game, is still the best player on a title team. The Washington Bullets does make a few other finals appearances as well. But yeah, that's basically my thing with Elvin Hayes.
He's got he's the 69 scoring champ too, because he peaks at like 28 and 17 or whatever it is. How many guys have a scoring title and a rebounding title? What is there? There's Mikan, there's Wilt, there's Kareem. I believe Kareem's got one too. And then is that it?
I'm trying to think.
Does Pettit have one?
Pettit, I think, does. No, I don't think Pettit has a scoring title. Does he?
Oh, you got me on this. So that's what I'm saying. So is he one of only 3-4 people ever with the scoring title and a rebounding title?
Yeah, no, Pettit has 2 scoring titles as a rebounding title.
Yeah, I was going to say the rebound.
Yeah. Is it to date? What about Robinson? Robinson have a rebounding title?
No, Robinson might have a rebounding title too. Hey, you know what's crazy? Pettit averaged 20.3 rebounds one year, and that's not a rebounding title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Robinson. Yeah. Rebounding title in 91. Scoring title, obviously, when he.
So how many people are? What about Neil Johnston? Does Neil Johnston got a scoring title and a rebounding title? Neil Johnston might.
Neil Johnston might.
I'd assume. I feel like Neil definitely has a rebounding title.
Yeah. So how many people are we up to? We're up to. So hold on. So there's Mikan.
Neil Johnston has both.
Okay. So there's Johnston, Wilt. There's Johnston, Wilt, Hayes, Kareem, and David Robinson. That's it. There's 5. What about Moses? Moses got one too, right?
Yeah.
Moses averaged 30.
Yeah, when he averaged 30. When he averaged 31. I think that was the scoring title. What, 82?
Yeah, something like that. 81.
82,
I don't remember exactly when he averaged one.
Yeah. When he won his MVP, I thought. Maybe.
Yeah. So that's wait, McAdoo. Does McAdoo got a rebounding title?
No, actually, no. Moses doesn't have a scoring title.
Oh shit. What about rebounding title for McAdoo? Does he have a rebounding title?
McAdoo does.
I know it's gonna be close. No, I mean, I know it's close.
No, I'm looking at it now. No. Yeah, no, because
that's it. Only 6 players have ever done that.
You are.
I think that's pretty impressive. Then, if only 6 players can ever say they've done it.
That is impressive. Yeah. I'm trying to look. Yeah, no.
Then if we narrow it down to the same season, I bet it gets even more impressive.
Yeah.
Shit, that might just be Wilt.
It might just be Wilt.
Wilt Mikan.
It's probably. Yeah, I was going to say Wilt and Mikan.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Mm-hmm. So does that move you up to Elvin Hayes at 49.5 now?
I could, but I want to look at the list. It depends. I mean, the talent and the production is there.
Yeah.
I guess
no,
like
for 50, I like it.
I got like Will. The thing is, like just ahead of him, I'd have like Willis Reed, Dave Cowens, AI, Shea, Drexler, Walt Frazier.
No, I feel you. No, I mean I like Hayes. So what are we doing? We're doing Hayes at 50, Ewing at 51, and Stockton at 52 because we're running out of time here.
That works for me. Whatever order. If we want, I think those 3.
So, so it's George Gervin at 54, 53 is AD, 52 is Stockton, 51 you said Ewing, 50 Elvin Hayes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And we got about 3 minutes to go. Anybody want to bring up anything? Any new ones? Any new points? Anything that you've seen that maybe correct some historic inaccuracies? I got a Kobe one
because we're on the Hayes.
You go Hayes.
With the Hayes thing, because I was having this argument with some guy that we talked to that says that Wes Unseld deserved that MVP the year that he won, because he said that he had he increased the amount of games won from the year before, just totality wise. And I did the count. When Elvin Hayes was drafted, he actually, like, the total amount of wins, it was less than the Bullets at the time. But he added more wins to the San Diego that San Diego team. I always forget the name. I apologize. But he added more wins, and he had more win shares. And the Rockets. It was more win shares and defensive win shares in his rookie season alone than Wes Unseld did, who won Rookie of the Year and MVP. So I believe Elvin Hayes should have got that MVP.
Well, Elvin Hayes 28-17 looks way better for an MVP too.
I have an unrelated question because I just put up my top 12 coaches ever. Is Alex Hannum a top 10 coach of all time?
I think he's got an argument.
He's an argument, okay? Because that's why I had him at 11.
He has an argument.
I have him at 11. He beat Bill Russell. He beat the Bill Russell Celtics twice. You know, that was kind of my whole thing. But Alex Hannum just to educate the audience. Alex Hannum coached the most famously most famously the Hawks and the Sixers, and the 1967 Sixers were arguably one of the 5 greatest teams ever. They were 68. They won 68 games, the first team to ever do so. It was Wilt Chamberlain's best year, 24 points, 24 rebounds, 8 assists, and that was like the best Wilt year. Alex Hannum really unlocked Wilt in a way, and he was the coach of the Warriors with Wilt as well. When they made it to the finals and lost to the Celtics. And that was, I think that wasn't really Wilt's fault. So Alex Hannum had unlocked Wilt, and he's the only coach. Bill Russell lost twice in the playoffs, and they're both Alex Hannum, right? So I thought it wasn't a lot of longevity. It wasn't a lot of great stuff. He was coach of the year when he was with the Nationals as well. So I thought he had an argument for top 10 coach. I don't think he gets talked about enough. I know the NBA didn't name him as one of the 15 greatest coaches ever, which I don't fucking know why they put Doc Rivers in there.
So, yeah, it's tripping on that. But we're out of time, so we'll check you all next week. We're probably going to keep this going down because we're a month behind now and working our way down on these players. So we'll do that. Anybody want to say anything? Signing off?
No.
Nope.
Oh, Canada.
Put on a suit, drink water. Don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
No, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.